for you. Do you want to try to land runway 13?
We're unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
All right, Cactus 15.9. It's going to be left traffic to runway 31.
Unable.
Okay, what do you need to land? Cactus 15.9. Runway 4 is available if you want to make left traffic to runway 4.
I'm not sure we can make any runway. What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Teterboro, Empire, actually, LaGuardia Departure Guy, emergency inbound.
Hey, go ahead.
Cactus 1529 over the George Washington Bridge, wants to go to the airport right now.
Wants to go to our airport. Check. Does he need assistance?
Yes, it was a bird strike. Can I get him in for runway 1?
Runway 1, that's good.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus? Cactus 15.9, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport up at 2 o'clock in about 7 miles. Eagle 54718, turn left thing 210.
210, 4718. I think he said he was going in the Hudson.
G'day fellow flight simmers and random YouTubers. Well, hopefully we won't be doing that today. But an interesting sort of scenario with that particular incident. Let's say, for example, this is the New York area, and you've got all this in blue is what they call Class Bravo, and it's in America, their Class Bravo is the equivalent of our Class Charlie. In other words, there's a lot of traffic. And the other day, I just happened to see on this page, and I thought, see, you've got all these flags, and you've got all these flags along the Hudson, and these flags are normally like reporting points, and I thought, I wonder if you could fly along the Hudson. Maybe that's what they're for. On first instinct, you think, because you've got about 3 airports, you've got Newark here, you've got JFK, and you've got LaGuardia. So you've got a hell of a lot of traffic. And in first instinct, you think, well, can I just putt along here in my 172 and be a nuisance to all these controllers who are trying to get traffic in and out of all these airports? Well, actually, as a matter of fact, you can. And what you do, you've got this is the terminal area chart for New York, but if you click up here to New York skyline, it brings me to this chart. And this is what they call the VFR transition route. Now, obviously you need clearance, ATC clearance, and you can see here that the lowest you can go is 1,300 and the maximum is 7,000. Well, no, sorry, I say that again. If you have a look, you just read this skyline route. So it lies above the Hudson River between Verrazano Bridge, which is down here, VZ, and you've got the Alpine Towers. So assist controllers need to determine the pilot's route of flight and offers Class B clearance based on traffic condition and runway flow to LaGuardia. So northbound aircraft, which is keep to the east side of the Hudson River, and southbound aircraft keep to the west side of the Hudson River. So you can see that southbound aircraft approaching from the north should contact LaGuardia Tower 126.5 prior to Alpine Towers, which is up the top, and expect to fly along the west bank of the Hudson River until authorisation is received. You've got to remain outside the Class Bravo airspace, which is this blue line here. So, and ATC will give you, and it says here, on initial contact, advise ATC of position, altitude, route name, desired, and the direction of flight. Available altitude of between 1,300 and 2,000 as assigned. So I thought, well, there you go. They can provide a VFR route. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to attempt to fly this route. And let's see. Now, by the way, before I do that, you can see all these here. You can see if I'm coming into this VFR transition zone, Alpine Towers, all these names in black are all the reporting points. Now GWB is what they call the George Washington Bridge, and then there's Intrepid, which is an old aircraft carrier, and then you've got these ventilation tunnels here, which is under here. You've got the Holland Tunnel, and these ventilation tunnels provide you see, this one here is a clock. Now, it's pretty hard to see this from if you're 1,300 feet up in the air, because you've got this dirty, great big building in front of it. So if you're coming from the north, it's sort of behind. But just to show you, they call this the Colgate clock, and this is what it appears in real life. So it's this humongous clock that sits on the foreshore, and then of course from there you track towards the Statue of Liberty and across this sort of inlet here and to the Verrazano, what they call the Verrazano Bridge, or they just call it VZ, and then from there so it is possible to fly straight along the Hudson River. So without further ado, let's see if we can fly this and pick out the different reporting points. So, and it'll be like a CTAF. So you're saying your altitude, what type of aircraft. So you'll be, before you enter the zone, you'll be calling out, Cessna 172 November Foxtrot India 1000 whatever, Alpine Tower, and so and then the next waypoint will be GWB. You don't have to say the George Western. You can say Golf Whiskey Bravo, and then the next waypoint will be Intrepid. You look for this on the east side of the Hudson River, and then you look for the ventilation towers, and then the clock, Statue of Liberty, and Verrazano. So let's see if we can find all these points. So the next time you'll see me, I'll be in the plane and approaching the Alpine Towers. Okay. So, see you soon. Okay, here we are in our trusty 172, and the first thing we're going to be looking forward to is the Alpine Towers. And if I'm not mistaken, I would say that this red and white towers are what they call the Alpine Towers. So that's our first point, our reporting point, and that's quite unmistakable. So don't forget, we've got to be flying we're flying south, and there's New York skyline. So we've identified the first waypoint. So, and we're at 1,300 feet. So that's the first point. Now I'll try to stick on the, have a look at the, okay, so we're about here at the Alpine Towers, and we're travelling south on the west bank of the Hudson River. Okay, so I might just try to be, or stay a little bit inland. Okay, the next thing we're looking for is the George Washington Bridge. I'm sure that's, and I'm thinking that's probably it there, just above the glare shield there. So we've already identified the George Washington Bridge. Now, I was just thinking actually, when that incident with Sully did happen, if you happen to be a VFR aircraft doing one of these VFR transit routes and you saw this jet coming straight towards you, I wonder if that ever happened, and if actually anyone thought, holy God, what in blazes is this jet doing landing on the Hudson? So I wonder if so that looks like the old GWB, George Washington Bridge, is fairly prominent. Okay, here we are, and it's quite unmistakable. The George Washington Bridge is that landmark right there. So we've identified the second waypoint, and by the way, I've set it to clear skies because the actual live weather wasn't actually showing, or wasn't suitable for very far flying. So we can see the George Washington Bridge coming up now. That's quite unmistakable. And by the way, I think, I'm not sure who does it, but I bought the payware Serenity for the New York skyline. Okay, so we've identified the George Washington Bridge, obviously a suspension bridge there. Okay, the next thing we're going to look for is Intrepid, which is an old aircraft carrier. So what I might do is I might just head a little bit towards, because this may, I mean in real life, of course I suppose it wouldn't be that hard to find, but we'll see if we can identify it with the in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Actually, the scenery looks all right. Yep, trusty November Foxtrot India. And you don't need to be a genius to work out what that means. I've got, obviously I've got this on autopilot, it just makes it easier for me to fly and commentate. Okay, so let's see if we can identify. So yeah, this is not something that, you know, this is actually in the real world, you can actually fly this route. And for me, like I said, different people use a Microsoft Flight Simulator for different things, but I like to actually do something that sort of reflects real life operations. I don't really find much joy in just doing something and getting up in the air and not being sort of, not learning anything, just going from point A to point B following a GPS purple line. I mean, to me that doesn't really. Okay, so we're looking for the old Intrepid. I should be around here, and I think that there looks like an aircraft carrier. You've got a cruise ship. Once that there looks like a cruise ship, once we go past it, we'll see how. And about 5 or 6 years ago, there's the new tower. That's the building that's replaced the Twin Towers. That building there. It's quite amazing, that, actually. So that's your cruise ship there. You can see there on my left. And it looks like that there looks like an aircraft carrier. Not very well modelled, but that's it. We've identified the Intrepid. I think that looks like the shape of... Okay, so we've done... Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is the ventilation towers, and these, they stick out like the proverbials. We can see here these two little structures, or if I get outside the aircraft, I'll try to see that little thing sticking out of the water, and that thing there, they're the ventilation towers, and the Holland Park tunnel goes underneath the Hudson River, and it joins Newark, which is on our side, to New York. So they're the ventilation towers. Okay, so now the next part, of course, is a bit challenging. Actually, you might just see it. Actually, I'll stick on this side. We're looking for the Colgate clock, and behind this building there's this clock, and we can identify it. And obviously just you can see the Statue of Liberty there, but right on the foreshore we're actually at the back of the clock. Right behind that building, this building there it is there, that little square thing where my arrowhead is. That is the Colgate clock. And so we've identified, obviously, the undeniable, the Statue of Liberty being there, and there's Ellis Island as well, just to my left. That's where all the immigrants were processed coming from different European countries. Quite a fascinating. And obviously that there is the... So we've gone past the clock, there's a statue, now we'll track towards the Verrazano, or what they call VZ. And you can see the Verrazano is in the background there. So what I might do, so there you go, that's a real world operation following the VFR route through our VFR corridor through probably one of the busiest airspaces in the world after Heathrow, I guess. So there you go. So hopefully that was of some use, and until next time, see you all later. Cheers.